someone poor who was raised in a single mother family like you. It's only natural to be the last in line. Seriously, you're such an idler, and yet you can't wait for just 4 hours. You are really narrow-minded, huh?
I had some business at the bank, and there, I unexpectedly ran into a classmate from the past who always looked down on me. And today, the teller at the bank was that very same former classmate. I repeatedly asked him when my turn would come, but he nonchalantly dodged my questions, and I had to wait for 4 hours before being called. I couldn't take it anymore, and I made a phone call. He was oblivious to who I was calling. After that, he went through a hellish experience. My name is Michael Johnson. I grew up in what you'd call a single mother family. The reason our family became a single mother household was that my father passed away due to illness when I was in kindergarten. My mother, who had been a homemaker until then, started working to support us and became a hard-working career woman. I wanted to help with the household expenses, but being just an elementary school student, I couldn't do much, so I decided to take care of the housework instead. "Mom, I'll do the cooking and laundry," I said, and I'll never forget the look on her face at the time. She looked at me with the expression like, "What is this kid talking about?" Initially, she said no, saying it was too dangerous for me to use the stove or a knife and that, but eventually, she relented, and I took over the household chores in the Johnson family. Of course, as an elementary school student, she knew that I couldn't handle everything, so I started with simple tasks like cleaning the bathroom. When I cook using the stove or knives, I always did it talked her with my mom. She allowed me to use them under the condition that I never do it alone while I was in elementary school. As time went on, I gradually learned to cook, and by the time I was in middle school, she allowed me to cook by myself. I truly took on all the household chores, but I really felt the difficulty of doing housework. I respected everyone who did this every day, even as a kid. Because of this lifestyle, I didn't play with friends much after school. I preferred to help my mom, so I often turned down invitations to play with. That led me to be kind of isolated in my class. Especially John Smith, who was one of my classmates, always mocked me.
Michael, Mommy said your family is a single mother household.
Yay, that's right. Mommy said single mother families never lead to a good life. He'd brag. I suggested you should stop calling your mom Mommy since we were already grade schoolers, which made him explode in anger. John increasingly bothered me after that. If I used a bit short pencil, he'd say, "Because you are from a single mother family, you can't afford a new pencil, huh?" And if my sweater was slightly frayed, "Can't afford a new one, huh?" The pencil was mid-length and perfectly usable, and the sweater just had a small snag. But he found these small things to mock me for being from a single mother family. I'd reply, "It's still usable," or "It's just a little fray," but he'd laugh, saying, "Sure, because you're poor from a single mother family." It seemed like John just wanted to use the phrase single mother family as much as possible. His attitude didn't change even in middle school. Even though we weren't in the same class, he'd greet me in the hallways with, "Hey, Michael from the single mother family." By then, I'd just ignore him. It was too much trouble to respond. Instead, someone stood up for me, shouting, "John, enough already." It was my classmate, Emily Williams. I first met Emily when I was shopping at the grocery store, thinking, what should I make for dinner today? She spoke me, saying, "Michael." I had a shopping basket full of groceries, mainly vegetables, while she only seemed to be buying snacks.
Are you running an errand? Good for you.
No, just picking up stuff for dinner and some pre-cooked ingredients.
Pre-cooked ingredients.
She seemed puzzled, almost robotic in her response, which made me laugh. My mom's the only adult at home. She's always busy, so I handle all the household chores.
Wow, even cooking?
Of course.
Michael, that's impressive. I'm not doing anything like that.
Well, that's normal. We're just middle schoolers, after all. I said with a laugh. Emily gave a wry smile, not sure how to respond. I'm used to such reactions, so I added, I do it because I like it. After that, Emily started looking out for me more. She would come up to me and say, Michael, I've recently started learning to cook. Whenever John picked on me, she'd get angrier than me, saying, even though Michael is from a single mother family, he's working hard. I don't want him to be spoken to like that by someone like you. If you have a problem, try working harder than Michael before you say anything. I would always thank her. I didn't make excuses for not to work hard studying just because I was managing the household. I made sure not to neglect my studies. I didn't want people to say my mom's parenting is bad. If I didn't understand something, I'd ask Emily, my classmates, or my teachers. Time flew by, and before I knew it, 3 years had passed, and it was time for our graduation ceremony. Emily called me out and confessed, seeing you work hard at cooking, studying, and cleaning, Michael, I thought you were an amazing person. That's why I realized I like you, Michael. Will you date with me? I was honest with my feelings. I've always liked you too, Emily, for always standing up and helping me. Yes, I'd be glad to. And so, we started dating. Fast forward several decades from our middle school graduation, and here I am in almost 30, with some business at my main bank, the Hudson Bank. My number was 36, and the current number being called was 33. Just about 3 more people, maybe I'll be called soon, I thought, and decided to sit and wait. An hour passed, and the person with number 35 was taking an unusually long time. I thought, it's a bank, so it's understandable if it takes time dealing with money matters. In the meantime, I worked on my laptop, replying to business emails, playing games on my smartphone, browsing social media, and watching videos. Finally, number 35 leaves at the bank counter. I put away my phone, ready to be called next, when suddenly, we're switching the order a bit. Number 37, please come up, was announced. This screen also displayed number 37. What? I thought, confused, as I saw the person with number 37 head to the counter. Maybe the person was in a hurry, and she asked the teller to be called earlier. Yay, that must be it. Otherwise, why would my number skipped? I tried to convince myself and sat back down. However, there was something that worried me a bit, actually. When I took my number, I noticed the teller's name was John Smith. Seeing his name, I remembered a classmate with that name and glanced at the teller. It was indeed him. I almost called out, John. He hadn't changed much since middle school. He was working at this bank, and at this branch. I never expected to find him working here. But John used to always mock me for being from a single mother household. Worried he might say something, I avoided making eye contact and moved away from the counter. I planned to get my business done quickly without any unnecessary talk. I couldn't help but wonder, though, whether he'd harass me, knowing who I was. After all, it had been decades since graduation, and this was his workplace. Surely he wouldn't do something like that at work. But still, my number wasn't being called. Number 38 was called next. John seemed cool and composed, just doing his job as if nothing was wrong. Maybe I'll be called next. I thought about it and took out my phone again. But still, no call. My number, 36, was never called. The counter was displaying number 60. I approached the counter and asked, "Excuse me, I'm number 36, but will it still take some time to be called?" John didn't even look up and just replied, "Yay, you'll be called soon. The order's a bit mixed up. But the next number is 45, and I'm 36. I complained, but next, number 45, "Please come to the counter," was all I got, my plea elegantly ignored. I wondered if this was really acceptable for a bank teller. I even tried asking another staff member, but all I got was "Please wait, or we'll let the person in charge know." I couldn't help but criticize in my mind the lack of help from anyone else. 2 hours had already passed since I arrived at the bank at that point. Looks like I just have to wait until I'm called. Resigned, I sit down to continue waiting. I was working on my laptop while keeping an eye on the counter. Around 3 p.m., when the bank was about to close. It passed almost 4 hours since I arrived here, Hudson Bank. I realized my number still hadn't been called, and they were even closing the counters. Startled, I quickly packed up my laptop and rushed to John's counter with my belongings. "Excuse me, I haven't been called yet." Showing him my number, John just snorted. "Oh, is that so? I was planning to call a poor person from a single mother family like you last, but I completely forgot." He laughed. So, he knew it was me and did this on purpose. I couldn't help but get angry and said, "You told me several times that you would call me next, didn't you?" But he replied, "I only said I thought I could call you next, not that I would."
Michael, it's only natural for someone from a single mother family like you to be last. What you needed today couldn't have been that important, right? You can just wait. Besides, can't you even wait that long? Aren't you too narrow-minded? The bank isn't running a charity, you know.
I was shocked at John's attitude. He knew it was me, judged me for being from a single mother family, made me wait for 4 hours without an apology. And now he's saying I'm the one who's narrow-minded. I decided right there. Fine, I've had enough. What? Now I'm ready to help you. But it's past 3 p.m., so please come back another day," John said, laughing endlessly. Disappointed with Hudson Bank for allowing such a person to be a teller, I left without saying a word. And then, I took out my phone and made a call. The next day, the branch manager, Robert of Hudson Bank, was at my doorstep.
"Michael, please, reconsider closing your account with our bank.
"Sorry, but I've already made up my mind."
Please, I beg you."
He was persistent, but my mind was unchanged. The person I called yesterday was Robert, the branch manager of the bank I visited. I had told him I wanted to close my account with Hudson Bank. As I have used this bank as my main bank for many years, he was nearly screaming, "Michael, why after all these years?" But I just said, "I received unacceptable service at your counter, so I can no longer trust your bank," and hung up. I don't know if he heard about it at the bank, but he called me that night saying, "I'd like to talk tomorrow morning." And indeed, he showed up at my house. It seemed he had heard all about yesterday's incident, as he was sweating so much ever since he arrived and kept wiping his brow with a handkerchief.
Our teller did something outrageous. John recently transferred to our branch, so he didn't know about you. I'll fire John. He's caused problems and received complaints at his previous branch too. I'll definitely fire him. Yes, he'll be dismissed immediately today.
I promise John will never appear in front of you again and do anything else we can. So please, I beg you not to cancel your account. Please, please. Robert was still apologizing deeply. So, I decided to respond calmly. I didn't want apologies on my doorstep. It's not your fault, you weren't there. But the person himself hasn't come to apologize, and I can't feel any sincerity in that.
Then, I'll bring him to apologize.
Shouldn't he have come to apologize first? Everyone saw his behavior towards me yesterday. It's unacceptable, both as a banker and as a professional.
I did tell him to come with me, but…
Robert seemed bewildered. Probably because John said something like, "I would never apologize to someone like Michael."
Michael?
I heard my name called, and I turned around. It was Emily there. We had been together since middle school, and after graduating college, we started living together.
Willow Bank will accept our entire deposit on the terms you set. They're ready to proceed with the transfer.
Got it, thanks. So, Robert, sorry, but Willow Bank is offering a good deal for our deposit, so I can't cancel the account closure. Please proceed with the process. I told him firmly. Robert finally gave up and left, disappointedly. He seemed to have aged about 20 years all at once. Maybe it was just because his gray hair, though. Emily and I quickly headed to Willow Bank. Did I do something wrong to Robert? But Emily assured me, no, you didn't. Well, John is the worst, but the bank allowed it, right? And John himself hasn't even come to apologize. He's unbelievable. He hasn't changed since middle school. Emily was angrier than me about John and yesterday's incident. I really like how she's always been this way, getting even angrier than me, as if it were her own issue, unchanged since the old days. It's fine now. We're done with Hudson Bank and won't have to deal with them anymore. Maybe it's fine for you, but not for me. If I find John, I won't let him off, she said, half-jokingly practicing pinches. I really wish for a more peaceful solution. But when we arrived at Willow Bank, we were in for a shock. John, what are you doing here? There John was. He was in a suit that looked somewhat dirty. John, upon seeing us, rushed over and started yelling, "Michael, it's your fault."
Why would a poor guy like you have $50 million in our bank, and now you're moving it to another bank? What's the meaning of this?
Well, your attitude yesterday was too bad, so I'm switching banks.
What? People from single mother families like you are supposed to be poor. That $50 million must be dirty money. How could someone like you come by that kind of money?
It's clean money. Emily and I run a business together. That's how we earned it. Emily, seeing John losing his temper, said, "You might not know this, but our company is really successful. It's called Help Bunny."
Help Bunny. Isn't that the household service company I've seen in TV commercials recently?
Yes, that's our company. In fact, I co-manage the company with Emily, focusing on household services. Having grown up in a single mother family and handling all the household chores, I knew how tough it could be. That's why, after graduating from college, Emily and I started this business. It turned out to be a huge success, and now my savings amount to $50 million. John, understand, Michael is no longer poor, and it's because of your attitude and behavior you looked down on him that you lost your job at the bank. You're still stuck in the past, Emily said, looking down on John. John just crumbled on the spot. After that, we successfully switched our main bank to Willow Bank. The branch manager of Willow Bank was overjoyed and welcomed us warmly. When we were taken to a meeting room, there was a banner saying, "Welcome, Michael Johnson." Even the president of Willow Bank came personally to thank us, saying, "Thank you for choosing our bank. We are committed to serving Johnson for a lifetime." I clearly remember the stark difference in treatment compared to Hudson Bank. I received a little heavy word like "We're with you for life." But Willow Bank and their branch had a nice atmosphere, and I started to look forward to our dealings with them. Once, John even came to my house begging, "I apologize for everything. Please tell Robert to forget about firing me." I firmly told him it's too late for apologies. "In that case, can you at least hire me at your company? We were classmates, right?" Just as he was pleading, Emily, fed up, grabbed a water bottle and sprayed him. "It's way too late for that, you turncoat. Don't you dare come here again." Soaked and embarrassed, John quickly just ran away. I heard rumors later that John tried to find employment at other banks, but his reputation for unbelievable counter service had spread, and he couldn't find a job. He became depressed and turned to drinking. He even had a fiancée, who was the daughter of a high-ranking officer at Hudson Bank, but they broke up after he lost his job. He might have made a career if he had married into that family, but that chance was gone. Now he's reportedly missing. A self-inflicted downfall, but I couldn't help feeling a bit of sympathy. Emily and I kept busy working. Our company, Help Bunny, we offered 2 service levels: an affordable casual course for everyday families and a more expensive luxury course with enhanced services. I proposed to Emily about creating a new course in between these two.
That sounds good. Every family's financial situation is different, after all.
And they have different needs. Maybe a custom service course could work, she suggested. Given our financial leeway, it seemed like a good time to develop new services and attract new clients. We took surveys from our employees and also listened to the voices of our customers and their needs. We even conducted surveys on social media to brainstorm new service courses when a certain news article caught my eye. I came across an article titled "The Reality of Young Carers." As the name suggests, it discussed the current situation of young carers, who, apart from caregiving, are also overwhelmed with household chores. I had thought their burden was only caregiving, but yes, they face the burden of housework as well. Although my mother was healthy and I didn't provide caregiving, I knew the challenges of housework since I had been doing it from a young age. But these young carers, dealing with both caregiving and housework, must be having such tough days. I remember not even having time to play with friends because of daily chores. That's when it hit me. If families with young carers could use our household service, wouldn't it at least reduce their burden? We could offer this service at an even lower price than our casual course, almost like a volunteer service. I shared this idea with Emily. What do you think about this course?
I think it's a great idea. It suits the current societal situation and is sure to be popular.
Emily wholeheartedly approved. I then shared this plan with our employees. The response was unanimous, with everyone saying, "We agree." "If it helps the young ones, I'm all in," said a veteran employee, Taylor, leading the chorus of supportive voices, followed by encouraging words from others. If they're young students, they should be studying or having fun. They shouldn't miss out on their youth. Our team's enthusiasm was overwhelming, and I decided to officially launch this course. We named this new service for families with young carers the Helper Course and introduced it as a new offering from our company. It turned out to be a massive success, with families reaching out saying, "Can you please help us?" The service became a topic of discussion, attracting media attention, and our company saw an increasing the requests for our service. The demand was so high that I found myself going to clients' homes to provide the service more frequently, especially when there was a request for a male staff. I was willing to lead by example and provide household services myself. Each time I visited a client's home to provide services and heard "You really helped us, thank you," it reinforced my belief that this work was worthwhile and fulfilling. Our company's performance continued to rise, and we had more male staffs. We enjoyed busy yet rewarding days. Today, Emily and I managed to take a well-deserved break after months and are currently on a beach vacation. The hotel we are staying is quite upscale, so I'm hoping to pick up some pointers from the staff service for our business. It's essential to learn from every possible source, and we adapt to best practices to improve our services. Actually, amid our busy work schedule, Emily and I get married. We had been living together since graduating college, but I was completely absorbed in running the business, and Emily was supporting me. Both of us were so busy that marriage had been almost an afterthought. The incident with John was what prompted us to finally tie the knot. Ever since we met in middle school, Emily always stood up for me more fiercely than anyone else whenever I was ridiculed. I realized I couldn't let such a wonderful person go. "Emily, I know it's a bit late, but shall we get married?" I proposed. She laughed and said, "It feels very late, but I'm glad you asked. I will always protect you, Michael." Emily has indeed always been my protector. I'm gonna also protect her from now on. It would be great if we could continue to support each other like this.
Being able to relax like this is really because we work so hard, isn't it?
Truly, Emily. Thank you for everything.
You too, Michael. You've worked hard.
We expressed our appreciation for each other.
It would be great to keep growing the company. Then maybe people will stop calling you a pool person from a single mother family.
Ironically, the one who said that the most is now missing.
He got what he deserved. The results one achieves through effort have nothing to do with their family background.
Exactly, as Emily says, family background doesn't determine a person's ability to succeed. Despite not growing up in a traditional family, I managed to graduate from college, start a company, and achieve success in its management. Ultimately, everything depends on one's effort. I believe that the results of your efforts will always benefit you. I hope to continue striving, working with Emily and all our employees, to achieve even better results